Today I'm going to be reviewing a perfume from the house of Aramis, probably better known for some classic masculine style releases like the original Aramis and Havana and Tuscany per Uomo. But today I'm going to be reviewing something from their calligraphy series. This is Perfume Calligraphy Rose. I'll just put it a little bit closer for you. There you go. It's a lovely looking label. Nice red juice, pretty bottle, I think. I like this one. Perfume Calligraphy Rose, as the name would suggest, is dominated by a rose fragrance, a rose note, accord, what have you. But this is a little bit one with a difference for me. Now, I'm by no means a rose aficionado when it comes to perfume in general. I like a few rose dominant scents, but only a few, and I only have a few in my wardrobe, this being one of them. So what it opens up with is this: you automatically get the rose, but you also get associated sweetness. Now the sweetness feels like it's only coming from the rose, if that makes any sense. But what you soon find out as this starts to dry down is that there is certainly like a kind of bedrock of sweeter style resins in this fragrance that underpin the rose. And it's funny because as sweet as it is, this is also off my skin a kind of dry perfume. Now, when I say dry, when I describe something as dry in this case, it's not the opposite to sweet. It's actually the opposite. It's kind of devoid of any moisture, this fragrance, when you smell it. So I know it's kind of hard to imagine a rose fragrance being so dry, but and given that this is also quite resinous, well, it's basically built on the two pillars of a rose accord and a base of resins. It's effectively an amber base, but everything is quite dry and almost powdery to an extent. So if you can imagine a solid block of resins and incense and maybe a little bit of spice painted with a coat of rose paint, basically, and this is where you kind of have to sort of, I guess, shift your thinking about this being a rose perfume, and I'll try to explain what I mean by that. The actual rose note in this particular perfume is pretty basic and straightforward. It's not the most opulent, complex rose note you can get. To me, to my nose, it's pretty much, yes, this is rose, but it's almost like a two-dimensional rose. Where this perfume is interesting for me is that that rose lives in an amber perfume. I get predominant notes of labdamen. There is something vanilla-y in here as well. As it develops into the heart, you get another kind of floral note that adds a little bit of sweetness. Now, it has some characteristics similar to like a powdery iris or orris, but with a bit of sweetness, and I can only imagine that it might be the honeysuckle note that they've listed as one of the notes here. Not that I would be able to pick up and isolate honeysuckle out of this, but I'm guessing that this is the floral note that is adding that kind of bit of sweetness and lovely powderiness to the rest of the composition. When it dries down, as I said, it basically dries down into a conventional, albeit quite lovely, amber base, as far as I'm concerned anyway, that kind of remains dry, and this is accentuated by the fact that when you get deep into the base, there is a very nice, I think, myrrh note here that dominates above all the other things like labdanum or vanilla or whatever else might be in here. The myrrh dominates in the base. So it's interesting because you'll see the name for this Calligraphy Rose, but what I thought about when I was putting down notes and thoughts about this fragrance was that something like Dior's Ombre Nuit, where the name suggests it's predominantly an amber, I think of that as a rose fragrance flavored with amber, albeit ambergris. This one here is Calligraphy Rose, but this to me is more an amber fragrance flavored with rose. So the rose note itself in this fragrance is not the most special, unique, complex, but it does the job of putting that slant onto what I find is quite a nice dry amber accord in the base. Now this is not the most complex fragrance, and it is quite sweet in terms of how it performs on my skin. I get a good 10 hours longevity, and I know based on the fact that I got a comment when this was sprayed this morning in the house. The sillage on this leaves a trail of a few meters at least, because I sprayed this on, left the room, went to another room, and someone commented like a couple of minutes later in the other room that they could smell this and wondered what that sweet perfume was. So it is, you'll have to be prepared for the fact that it's not a complex rose, it is a sweet perfume, but I enjoy wearing it. It definitely is too much in warmer weather because this is quite reasonably linear and stays, doesn't really die down on your skin. It kind of stays at the same volume the whole way through the progression of the scent. I do enjoy it, but I'm fully aware that something like this would not be for everyone, not even for all lovers of rose. It is pretty well priced for what you get, but again, it's not in the same league as it's not. I don't want to say the same league. It's a different type of rose. If you're a rose fan in perfumery, it's definitely worth checking out. But just be aware of what you're getting here. Not the most complex perfume. It is quite sweet, but if you don't mind that kind of thing, this isn't expensive and probably a nice fragrance to have for when you're in that kind of mood for this type of thing. I do like it. That's why I have a bottle. I enjoy wearing it every time I've worn it. I've never worn it and thought, oh, this is not really doing it for me. I like it every time I wear it, but as I said, it is what it is. Perfume Calligraphy Rose from Aramis. That is my review. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.